shows us is live. We're live. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Star Wars News with myself, Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and the Nev. Welcome, the Nev.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. As or when it happens.
As and if it happens.
As and
if it happens.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The next rumor is that what do you call that? Oh, yeah, the Skywalker saga is not finished. And that
there's no more Skywalkers.
Force Ghosts.
There are no more living Skywalkers to go beyond Episode 9.
Not true. Rey is a Skywalker.
Of the current canon. She's not a Skywalker.
Okay, so here's the rumor. Okay, now I've tried to look this up. The source for my information is where was he? The nerd news. Mark. The Den of Nerds. That's who I'm thinking of.
Den of Nerds, yeah.
Den of Nerds.
Den of Nerds. Den of Nerds are a good source of information, yeah.
Yeah, they're a fairly reputable source.
They're good. I've watched their podcasts before. They do some good stuff. They have good conversations. Yeah, they have really good conversations.
Exactly. They've got good conversations. They've got sources on the inside. I mean, and again, it's rumor, but the rumor is that there will be episodes 11, 10, 11, 12. Now, part of this stems all the way back to the creator. George Lucas, back in the day, had always, I don't want to say always said, but had toyed with the idea of a 4-part saga, right? Starting with 4, 5, 6, going back 1, 2, 3, 11, 7, 8, 9, then 10, 11, 12. Okay? The idea being 10, 11, 12 would wrap everything up in a nice little bow, right? One of the things that the Den of Nerds actually goes back to, there was an article in 2018 on StarWars.com that actually shows some of Lucas's original notes for the show, right? This 10, 11, 12. Now, the rumor that he's heard, though, is that Disney and Lucasfilm right now are in early stages of creating this 10, 11, 12. And the rumor that goes with that is that this Finn TV show that people are speculating on, they're saying a TV show is coming for Disney Plus that will revolve in and around Finn and the First Order and all that other crap, right? They're looking to write some of those characters, is the rumor. Not all of them, some of them, into this new saga, right? Now, is there weight to it? I mean, Lucas had originally claimed, there will be a 10, 11, 12, but that's it, right? In his farthest dreams, that's what he had planned, right? I think it was a matter of, let's get 4, 5, and 6 done first. I'll wait for my divorce to go through. And there's the delay, I think, is
super chat from
Oh, Deadpool Kyle. To start the Thaddeus Fund, it is an archaic way to donate. I feel like a Neanderthal. Oh, I love it. Thank you. But anyways, we've got this. We've got it from the source, right? The man himself was like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's get these." But then after he did 4, 5, and 6, he had to wait for his divorce to go through or finalize or something to that extent. So that his wife wouldn't be connected to receive any royalties for the prequels. So then he went through and did 1, 2, and 3, do the Vader backstory, which I think it hasn't aged well, but the story is phenomenal, right? The actual movies haven't really CGI and the green screens.
The CGI hasn't aged well on the prequels at all.
Not even a little bit. But then he had always intended to do 7, 8, and 9. But Lucas's 7, 8, and 9 would have had Darth Maul, or at that point Maul, be one of the main bad guys, as well as Talon, I believe. It was Maul and someone else, and I can't remember who else. But he would have been the main bad guy of 7, 8, and 9. But that just wasn't in the cards because he sold it and Disney went off on this crazy thing that they did.
I don't know what Lucas would have done off my head for 7, 8, and 9, but whatever envisaged for 10, 11, and 12, it is irrelevant because they didn't do his 7, 8, and 9.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think the reason why I think that this rumor is complete and utter hogwash, 100% complete and utter BS. Is there a trilogy out there? Yeah, but set after episode 9? No. Everything after episode 9 for the next decade is dead. Absolutely dead. There is no point doing anything for the next 10 years after episode 9 until what Filoni and Favreau are planning to do for the next 10 years is done.
But think about that. Filoni and Favreau have and are planning out the next 10 years. We are going to see the next 10 years of Star Wars through the eyes of these two creators. More than likely, right? Unless something tragic happens, it's more than likely going to be the case. And so, like, next year, we have Andor, Kenobi, and Bad Batch 2. Ahsoka, even, and Bad Batch 2. So we have 4 shows right there. Then we have another series of shows, plus either the Book of Boba Fett Season 2, which may or may not happen.
Yeah, I don't think that it's a one-off, just like Wanda was a one-off.
That's what I'm kind of hoping, because I do like those contained, thank you, series. My thought is, though, they've got at least the next 6 years planned out, right? We're into quite possibly the middle of phase 1 of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau's Star Wars universe, right? Phase 2 could start 3 or 4 years from now, and we could see a few movies, we could see a few TV shows. If they start branching into or out into some of these possibilities, right? Like a Finn television show, which could potentially set up something. Like bringing back Rangers of the New Republic, which could potentially set up something. Like a Thrawn TV show. Or the rumor that is, once season 3 and or season 4 of The Mandalorian ends, those characters will then be part of a new show that gets a whole new run. Right? And again, if you got 4 or 5 seasons of that, that is right there 10 years of work. And then you introduce a new sequel, building off the universe that everything else has just set up.
Yeah, no, a new sequel trilogy. I see a new sequel trilogy being more likely than a trilogy following on from the current sequel trilogy, because nobody wants it's dead.
Yeah,
the sequel trilogy killed the Solo, Skywalker, and Amidala bloodlines.
Yeah,
so there is nothing to go on from there except Rey, and nobody wants to see a trilogy of movies based purely off. I'm not going to go to the movies. I'm not going to go to the cinema and watch a movie with her in it, because I don't see a good story going anywhere with her based on her current character arc. The only way I see her being successful moving forward in the future would be, because they got the actors young and the actors and the actresses young, is if they are reintroduced into the canon under a new timeline, which can possibly happen with all of the TV shows and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Introducing a teenage Rey, a child Rey, a child or a teenage Kylo Ren, Ben Sky, introducing those characters in as kids, so we get to see them as kids and seeing them interact together at like a Jedi Praxium or a school that Luke is running. I would love to see those two characters, Ben Solo and Rey, being trained both underneath, because then at that point, we then know, the sequel trilogy, just like previous books, is getting decanonized, and they're going to come up with something new, and then we don't know what that new is. We just know that something new is coming.
So here's the thing, and I agree with you to an extent. I don't believe the sequel trilogy will be decanonized. You do, obviously, which is fine. I just don't think that it will. I think they've put too much time, energy, and money into this. And companies like Disney don't say, whoops, we made a mistake. Right? They take that mistake and they do everything possible to fix it. Right? Without saying, our bad. Right? And so I think what they're going to do is they're going to let Favreau and Filoni do their thing. Maybe they will do the universe split like you've talked about. And it makes sense. You've got the world between worlds, I forget what they call it, the door, right?
Veil of the Force.
Veil of the Force, thank you. It's very possible. It is very possible that could be the way they go. Already, we know that there is at least a little bit of a split simply because of Ahsoka. The fact that Ahsoka is saved by Ezra, he saved her, means that he's there to tell Din Djarin that, hey, go to this temple on Tython and, do this thing and we'll call other Jedi. Without Ahsoka being alive to do that, then obviously there is no call to the Jedi. Obviously there's, Boba Fett, or I keep saying Boba Fett, Din Djarin raises little baby Yoda to be a Mandalorian, and he becomes the most bad little Mando ever, right? Which would be awesome. I think we would have all had loved that. But that is an issue. But with Luke taking taking Grogu, Ben is no longer maybe the first Padawan that Luke trains, right?
Grogu's his first apprentice.
Yeah, he's not his first apprentice, because Grogu.
So people are like, oh yeah, that goes against what it was in the comic books. Lucasfilm does not follow, nor does it care what's in the books and the comics. Yeah. It really, really doesn't. We know that they don't care about what's in the books. Yeah. And when it comes to decanonizing something, they will if they think that going in a different direction is going to make them more money. So they will remove the sequel trilogy from the timeline and start again from scratch if they think if they think a new timeline is going to make them more money. Here's the thing, Thaddeus, they've already done it. Disney did it when they bought Lucasfilm. They looked at the books and they went, okay, so here's the current timeline. We can go with this, or if we can create our own timeline, if we think, and they ditched the old timeline and they went with a new one. It did not make as much money as they were expecting it to make. Each of those three movies should have been should have been 2 billion, 2 billion, 2 billion. It wasn't. It was 2, 1.7, 1.3. The receipts went down on each movie. So, and the stockholders would have been like, we should have been getting dividend payments from 2 billion each movie, and they didn't. So if there's a new story a new episode 7 based off what occurs over the next 10 years in the various different TV shows, people would get over the top excited for stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I do agree. Maybe that's just my hope that they don't throw out everything that they did. Now, the last potential thing that I think we could actually see as part of the Skywalker saga. Okay? Now, and this is a shot in the dark. Okay? We know Thrawn is a huge fan favorite. Okay? In the new sequel trilogy, or not the sequel trilogy, in the new canon books written by Timothy Zahn, I've talked about him many, many times. If you've not read them, you could find a link in the section below. Free Audible. It's wonderful. And hearing Thrawn do his thing is just awesome. But in the new canon, when you go back in time, Thrawn, as part of the Chiss Empire, they call their wayfinders, which use the Force to navigate starships, right? They call them Skywalkers. That is the translation from Chiun to basic Skywalker, right? And you know, Thrawn, when he first meets Anakin, he has this moment. He's like, "Oh, your name's Skywalker? Ha ha ha! Clever," or whatever, right? What if the rumor has been telephone gamed enough that the Skywalker saga is what you and I have talked about, which is meant to be this Skywalker saga that focuses not on the Skywalker family as we know it, but the Chiss and the Yuuzhan Vong. That's a Hail Mary.
Yeah. You're stretching there.
It might. I feel like I am, but like, if you could get the fandom back on your side, think about that. Bringing back the Skywalker family, bringing the Chiss and making an entire Chiss series would just be awesome.
I don't think it's so much about bringing the Chiss into it. I mean, I think that the Chiss will be introduced into it, just not in this big way that you see them being brought into it. The way that I see them being brought into it is they bring, Thrawn gets brought in. Thrawn gets brought into, and this is where I see a new movie series going. But through the TV series and through everything that happens, the big culmination that comes together at the end of all of the phases, the New Republic think that it's Thrawn and the remnant of the Empire, that they're fighting, and Thrawn controlling that from the top, wants the remnant of the Empire to believe that's what they're fighting. They're fighting to restore the Empire.
Yeah.
But Thrawn's, always thinking, it's like 4D chess. He's always thinking a million moves ahead, and the culmination is going to be along the lines of, this was never about, restoring the Empire. It was simply about restoring, a military operation so that we can team up with the New Republic and fight this new bad guy that's in the Outer Rim, in the unknown regions that me and my people, the Chiss, have known forever.
Yeah.
And me joining the Empire and rising through the ranks and getting to the top so that I'm running the Empire has just been a means to an end in order to gain command of a force large enough that I can then go to any other force and say, look, we need to work together in order to beat these guys. And then the next series of movies, set off in the not too distant future, would involve something like that. And you could still bring in something like that. You still could bring in Rey, and you could bring in
Yeah.
Ben, because if you bring them in during this mildly altered timeline,
Yeah.
okay, this mildly altered timeline, and have Luke Skywalker training them all, then there are some Jedi that can be used
Yep.
in a rebooted sequel trilogy. So you appease the Reylos, the people that just want to see Rey and Kylo. They're written, no matter how poor their characters are, re-glossed, refinished, because then you're looking at the old school fans that have been like, you see, these characters don't suck anymore because they've been given good character arcs.
Yeah,
they've been good. I'm getting the Circle of Death on Facebook, on YouTube.
It just popped back up.
And Thrawn being at the top of that, and then because even during the Yuzhan Vong campaign, there was a truce between the New Republic and the remnant of the Empire, and they did fight together. In order to beat them, and I just see that as the whole. That would be the fourth phase. Something new to go into with movies and like I said, they can bring back the original actors, because they can do that. They can do a generous leap if they want to. They can do a generous enough leap. It just needs to be written well. It just needs to be done well. And when I say done well, I mean done in the complete opposite way that they did Independence Day, Insurgents.
No, I'm right there with you.
They did a 20-year time leap. They didn't use any of the original actors except for Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
And there was very few trailers. There was very few character that we didn't know anything about these characters.
Yeah.
So doing a 20-year jump, obviously, you had Crazy Head as well. What's his face? That was from the original movie. There was only 2 characters from the original movie.
The one who flew his plane up into the ship?
No, not Will Smith. The guy that was with Will Smith. The Game Master from Marvel.
Ian Malcolm.
Yes. Ian Malcolm.
Ian Malcolm's the guy from Jurassic Park. But yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've got a pillow of him back here.
Exactly. So you could do you could comfortably do a 10-year jump to a new movie that is going along similar lines, but instead of Rey being abandoned on a planet, she's been trained as a Jedi since she was a kid. Instead of that whole bad crap that happens between uncle and nephew, none of that happens.
Yeah.
Literally none of it happens. And they have some new big bad that comes up, because I still think the whole Palpatine thing is going to get wiped using the Veil of the Force.
Yeah.
I think that the Veil of that is still, and it's only going to be done simply because whoever goes into the Veil of the Force is going to be shown a future where literally trillions of people die, and if they can change it with one action through the Veil of the Force, then it's a bit like the Terminator movies. Every time we get to the end of a Terminator movie, something changes that means the next Terminator movie has to follow a slightly different timeline.
Yeah.
We had Terminator 1, and then in Terminator 2, and then we had Terminator 3, and then kind of about a couple of other. I haven't watched the latest Terminator. I have no intention of ever watching it. But as with the Terminator movies, every time they changed the timeline, the next movie had to take into consideration the tweaks here and there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And so, I agree with you. I think that's probably going to be what's happened. Like, everything that you said about Thrawn, I 100% am on board. I think you were 100% right. I just think
fans would love that.
Yeah, they would. And I just think that it will follow that same timeline as we saw before, with a few exceptions in between. Everything else, I 100% agree with. I just don't think they're going to get rid of 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
And I think that Lucasfilm has already shown in its previous history that they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Removing stories from what they see as the official timeline moving forward.
Yeah, no, and
because they've done it. So I'm basing my hypothesis off previous history.
No, I agree. Mine is more of a hope. Not that I love 7, 8, and 9. I like them. I think they're fine, but there's a lot of wrong with it. I just think that I'm not ready to give up a whole nother series because Lucasfilm is willing to make more money, and just because I've invested in it again, I'd feel jaded if that's what they did, just like I felt jaded when they did it the first time, right? If they're going to say, oh, we made a mistake and get rid of 7 years of work, I'll feel a little upset.
They wouldn't admit to it. They wouldn't call it a mistake.
No, they wouldn't. As we said, it wouldn't be a mistake for them. It would just be
a new direction that they're taking to make money for their stockholders.
Indeed.